Hello everyone. So today we're gonna take a look at Kotlin destructuring, how it works and what it is. Let's get started. So what do we mean by destructuring? So Kotlin out of the box for data classes provide a destructuring, which means that you can convert a composite value and use it to initialize multiple values at once. So what does that mean? So let me just demonstrate it by creating a data class. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a data class name, which would be like personal info, and we're going to have a name and surname. So that would basically reflect your surname. Now that we have both the name and the surname, what we generally do is we'll create an object and we'll say, val personal info is equal to personal info. And now I'm just gonna pass test surname, right? So the name is test, the surname is surname itself. Okay, now let's say generally what we do is, like, if you want to print the name or we want to initialize the name to a variable and use it for some other purpose, generally we have this pattern where we do val name is equal to personal info dot name and val surname is equal to personal info dot surname, and then we go ahead and we say print, and we'll just say dollar name is this, and surname is surname, right? Now let's just run it. So what it will print is basically it will say that, as you can see, the name is test and the surname is surname. Now what we are doing is we are initializing two variables in two different lines, and we are calling methods to get it, and we have this personal info, which is a composite value which contains both the values name and surname. So what we can do is we can use a function which Kotlin provides, and we Kotlin destructuring, which is called as Kotlin destructuring, and we can directly assign both the values at once rather than doing it at both the lines. So I'll just demonstrate that. So you can do this like val the name, the surname equal to personal info, and what this does is internally it takes the first parameter, which is name, assigns it to the name. It takes the second parameter and it assigns it to the name, and if we run this, we're gonna see the same output as is, right? So this is one of the benefits of data class and benefit of destructuring, that you can do it at in a single line. You can assign multiple variables. Let's say if you had another variable which is like age, so I could just say val age colon int. I can just pass 25, and now you see I can just put a comma here, take age, and it will directly take the value, and age is dollar age, and you can so on and so forth use this. Now one thing we have to be careful about when we are using Kotlin destructuring is that you have to ensure that the sequence does not change. So for example, if you're destructuring it like this and somebody comes along and they just change the sequence of this, right? They just change the sequence and they say that no, hey, now the name is the second parameter, and sorry, name is the second parameter and first parameter is surname. So you just pass surname in the new value if you're using named parameters and stuff like that, and test here. But now, though this is giving you an error because we are using this name, but it can happen that this is a subtle bug there where you forget that hey, the name is not the first parameter, and if you run it, it will say that the name is surname and the surname is test because it got interchanged. Take care of that so that you do not mess up the sequence in which the variables are initialized and the way variables would be structured. Now this was for data class. What if you want to create a destructuring component for your personal or a normal class that is not a data class? So what we can do is we can create a normal class. Let's say uh, we can name it address, right? It's a normal class. And what we're going to do is we're going to take two parameters in here. We're going to take val pin code, which is in, and we're going to take val state, right, which is going to be string. It can be anything, right? We have two parameters. Now out of the box, if we try to do the way we have done here, so what we can do is if I say val address is equal to address and 1144 and string ma, whatever the state might be. And now if I try to restructure it into its basic components, which is basically pin code and the state, and I say pin code and state and assign it, this won't work. This will say that, you know, destructuring is not supported right now. So to support destructuring in a normal class, what you can do is you can override a component, which is like operator fun and component 1. So component 1 would become your first component, which is like end, and you can just return pin code here, right? Okay, this would be component 1. Sorry, my bad. And then you can have operator fun component 2 string and return state, right? And automatically it starts supporting the destructuring. Now you can just print this and say println pin code and state. And if you run it now, what it's gonna do is it's gonna print 44 and ma. So this is how you create a custom destructuring for your components. You can have n number of components. You can have 1 2 3 4 till n, and you can return whatever values you want for them. You can tie to the upper bound. You can just make it any, and that will work as well. But you have to make sure that, you know, your components do not break if you're expecting something else and it's returning something else. We're just going to keep string. By knowing or unknowingly, you may be using Kotlin destructuring a lot in your code base. For example, HashMap out of the box supports Kotlin destructuring using the standard libraries. So you generally have a HashMap, which is like val hash is equal to HashMap of, and I'm just gonna create a HashMap of strings, which is like A1 to B1, right? And A2 to B2, right? And now if I do for this, generally what we say is like h int hash, and if I say print key, and I can just write $h dot key comma $h dot value, sorry, h dot value. And if I run this, it's gonna print key A1 A2 B1 B2 value as well. Now what if we do not want to access this individually? So what we generally do is we can directly destructure it in the loop here. I can just say key comma value, and the value would be restructured. I can directly access them here without any issue. I can just say, you know, key, and here I can say value, and it would still print the same thing. Oh, I added a semicolon. Yeah. and it would print the same thing. So still A1 B1 A2 B2, and like this the destructuring is supported in most of the standard libraries. You have lists, you have hash map and other data structures. It is supported. So this is it for today. If you have any topic that you would be interested in on learning and you want a tutorial for, please let me know in the comment box. Thank you.